All right, so today we are diving deep into the world of credit risk analysts.
No.
We're using RoleCatcher as our guide, and I've got to say, some of their stuff can be a bit, well, dry,
Yeah.
but it's full of really useful information, especially if you're thinking about a career in this field.
Right.
It's like we're cutting through all the noise and getting right to the good stuff, you know?
Yeah, for sure.
Think of this deep dive as your cheat sheet for understanding what it really takes to be a credit risk analyst.
It's funny when you say credit risk analyst, I think a lot of people they picture someone like hunched over spreadsheets all day long.
Yeah, I could see that.
And while yeah, numbers are definitely a huge part of it,
Right.
it's actually a much more, well, nuanced and honestly fascinating role than people might realize.
Okay, now you've got me intrigued. What's so fascinating about it?
Well, think of them kind of like financial detectives.
Really?
Seriously,
Yeah.
they don't just look at the numbers on a page. They have to dig into the story behind those numbers.
Mhm.
They're figuring out how likely someone is to actually repay a loan, right?
Right.
Which means looking at their financial history, like what's their track record?
Makes sense.
Their current financial situation, are they doing okay? Can they actually handle this loan?
Yeah.
And then on top of that, they've got to factor in things like market trends. What's the economy doing? Is it a good time to be lending money? It's a lot like piecing together a puzzle, really.
So it's not just about, like, crunching numbers. It's more about connecting the dots.
Right.
Seeing the bigger picture.
Exactly. A good credit risk analyst has to be analytical, yeah, but also insightful.
Okay.
They can't just see they've got to understand the why behind those numbers.
Right.
And here's something that might surprise you. They also have to be incredible communicators.
Oh, interesting. See, I wouldn't have thought about that right away. Like communication being a core skill in a role that seems so, I don't know, numbers driven.
It's essential, really, because once they've done all that analysis and assessed the risk, they've got to be able to explain what they found to other people.
Yeah.
And those people, the stakeholders, they might not be finance experts.
Right.
So the credit risk analyst has to take these, frankly, sometimes really complex financial situations and make them understandable for everyone involved in making a decision.
That's quite the skill set, taking all that financial stuff and making it make sense for everyone. That's impressive.
It really is. And that's part of what makes this career path so interesting. You're always learning, you're constantly analyzing, and then you're finding ways to share those insights so they actually have an impact.
It does sound like a job for people who really like to, dig into the nitty-gritty and figure things out.
Absolutely.
It does sound like a job for people who really like to, dig into the nitty-gritty and figure things out.
Absolutely.
But let's be real. Every job has its, its pros and cons.
Oh.
What does RoleCatcher say about the downsides? Anything we should watch out for?
Well, they definitely highlight that it can be a high-pressure kind of environment.
bet.
You're dealing with a lot of money, right?
Right.
And the decisions you make, they have real consequences. It's not just numbers on a screen.
Yeah, that makes sense. And I imagine that pressure probably contributes to those long hours you hear about in finance, right?
Yeah, that's true, especially as you move up and take on more responsibility.
Right.
But on the flip side, that responsibility also comes with a real sense of purpose,
Okay, yeah, tell me more about that. What makes this role so rewarding?
Well, a lot of credit risk analysts talk about the impact they have.
In what way?
Think about it. Their analysis, it can literally be the difference between a business getting the loan they need to grow or a family buying their dream home.
Wow, that's a big deal.
It is. They're playing a huge role in making those things happen.
Yeah, that's a powerful motivator, knowing you're helping people achieve their goals.
Exactly.
It's not just about the bottom line, it's about real people and their lives.
Exactly. And on top of that, the field itself, it offers a lot of room to grow, to build a career.
Oh, okay.
RoleCatcher actually lays out a whole career path,
You do?
You start as a junior analyst, and then you can move up to senior analyst, manager, director, even principal credit risk analyst.
So there's a real path for advancement there if you're willing to put in the work.
Oh, absolutely. And as you move up that ladder, you're not just getting a bigger paycheck.
Right.
You're taking on more responsibility, leading a team, maybe even shaping how the entire organization thinks about risk.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
And speaking of paychecks, what's the earning potential here?
RoleCatcher mentions a range of $60,000 to $90,000 for entry-level positions.
Wow. Okay, so pretty competitive even starting out.
It is. And that's just the beginning. As you gain experience, maybe you get some certifications under your belt, you can definitely earn a lot more.
Right, those certifications, we talked about those earlier, the CFA, FRM, CCRA. Those are kind of like the VIP badges of the finance world, aren't they?
Yeah, they definitely carry a lot of weight.
But before we jump into those, something else caught my eye in the RoleCatcher guide.
What's that?
They have these like example profiles. They show how a real person might describe their day-to-day in these different roles.
Oh, yeah, those are really interesting.
Yeah, so what kind of stuff are we talking about? Give me an example.
Sure. So they have one for a junior analyst, right? And this person talks about how their day might involve like supporting the senior analyst by gathering data, doing some research, maybe even building financial models.
Okay, so a lot of hands-on learning,
Yeah.
building a foundation.
Exactly. Then they have another one for a senior analyst.
Okay.
This person, they're responsible for conducting those credit risk assessments on their own.
Oh, so they've moved up.
Exactly. They're presenting their findings to management, maybe even mentoring some of those junior team members.
It is pretty cool how they show that progression.
Yeah.
Going from like supporting to leading, even shaping those
Yeah.
strategies, that's pretty amazing.
Yeah. It's a cool field to be in. And, RoleCatcher doesn't just describe the journey. They give you tools to actually, get there.
Oh, it's right.
Let's talk about those certifications, those VIP badges you mentioned.
Yes, please. I need the inside scoop on these.
All right. So, CFA Chartered Financial Analyst. That one, that's like the gold standard,
Okay.
It's tough. You've got to pass 3 levels of exams. But if you've got that on your resume, it means you really know your stuff when it comes to investments, valuations, portfolio management, the whole 9 yards.
Well, so if I see CFA after someone's name, I know they've put in some serious work.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Then there's FRM, Financial Risk Manager.
Okay.
This one's all about, risk.
Makes sense.
It covers everything from market risk to credit risk, operational risk, even regulatory stuff. It gives you a really broad understanding of all the ways things can go wrong and how to prevent them.
So for someone specifically interested in credit risk, the FRM is a good way to, broaden their knowledge base.
Absolutely. It gives them that big picture perspective. And then finally, there's the CCRA, Certified Credit Risk Analysts.
Ah, the one that's laser focused on this specific area.
Exactly. That one gets into the nitty-gritty of credit analysis, the methodologies, the regulations, all the best practices.
Okay, so if you really want to show employers you're serious about credit risk, that's the certification to have.
Exactly. It shows them you're committed, that you've gone the extra mile.
So let's say I've been practicing my analytical skills, I've mastered the art of communication, maybe even snagged a certification or two.
Mm-hmm.
What's next? How do I actually land that awesome credit risk analyst job?
Well, RoleCatcher, they're big on networking.
Networking. Okay. Not surprising, I guess.
No, but they actually have some really cool tools to help you, actually build and manage your network. It's not just about going to those industry events, though those are definitely helpful.
Right.
They've got resources for connecting with people online, setting up informational interviews, and then most importantly, keeping in touch with those connections.
So it's about building those genuine relationships, and they're giving you the tools to make it happen.
Exactly, exactly. And speaking of tools, let's not forget interview prep.
Oh, yeah, the dreaded interview.
RoleCatcher has this awesome database of interview questions specifically for credit risk analyst roles.
Wait, so not just your run-of-the-mill, tell me about yourself questions.
No. We're talking about the real deal. How would you assess the creditworthiness of a small business?
Oh, wow.
Or what are some warning signs when you're looking at a loan application? Stuff that really makes you think on your feet.
That's amazing. I feel like so often you go into an interview and you're blindsided by questions you never even considered.
Right. Well, this database, it's like having a cheat sheet for your interview.
I like the sound of that. So you can walk in feeling totally prepared.
Exactly. And if you really want to step up your game,
Okay, what else have they got?
they've got this AI-powered feedback tool. You can actually record yourself answering practice questions, and it'll analyze your responses, tell you what you did well, where you can improve.
Wow, that's next level, like having a personal interview coach.
Right. It's like having someone in your corner helping you prep for the big day.
So if you're the kind of person who thrives on feedback and really wants to nail that interview, RoleCatcher has got your back. This is amazing. So we've learned a lot, haven't we? A credit risk analyst isn't just some boring numbers person. It's someone who's got to think like a detective, communicate those findings clearly, and have a real understanding of the impact their work has on people's lives.
Yeah, it's a challenging role, definitely, but it's also incredibly rewarding,
Absolutely. And with the demand for these skills only growing, it sounds like a really great career path, especially with resources like RoleCatcher out there, giving you the tools and knowledge you need to succeed.
Couldn't agree more.
Well, folks, there you have it. Our deep dive into the world of credit risk analysts. Big thanks to RoleCatcher for being such a comprehensive guide, and to you, our listeners, for joining us on this journey. We'll see you next time for another exciting deep dive.